If you have been listening to the news, in fact, if you've been listening to our show, if you are anywhere related and connected to any kind of social media outlet or news cycle, you have to have heard about these amazing drugs, these amazing medications that are helping people for the first time in their lives lose weight. For a long time, we did not have anything that worked well. Let me say that a little differently. We didn't have anything that worked well that didn't cause other problems. That's what it is. And so back when I was in medical school, there were lots of things that were on the market, but they were pulled off the market because they caused other metabolic, heart-related issues. And so for lots of years, our advice to people who suffered with weight was to go home, exercise, and eat better. That was it. But finally, we've had a slew of medications that have come out, and they are taking the country and the world by storm. And people are losing significant amounts of weight, and they are feeling better. And one of the questions I get asked all the time is, hey, can I fast while I'm taking weight loss medication? And specifically, we're talking about medications such as the GLP-1 receptor agonist. I was going to say such as. That's what we're talking about. And you've heard the names out there. Those are things that we're talking about. Can I fast while I do those? Or I am fasting while I'm doing this. Hey, I have some questions. And that's what we're going to talk about here tonight. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are breaking free from those obstacles. We're breaking free from those roadblocks, and we are presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life as we live a limitless life. Welcome to the show tonight. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and let you know that we're excited that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat because we'd love to get to those as we move through the space and answer those questions. We want to make sure we get that because I know a lot of people have questions about these. Also, we'll be taking a look at my monitors. I've got those off here to the side. I've got my Dexcom Clarity, which we'll see down below here, which is right below. You see that? And then, of course, my monitors that we'll take a look at off to the side here. Whatever platform you're joining us on, we are glad that you're here. If you are on LinkedIn, if you are on Twitch, if you are on Instagram, if you are on Facebook, and, of course, here on YouTube. If you know that there's somebody that needs to be here to listen to this conversation, go ahead and let them know that we're here and we are raring to go. Let me hop over and say hello to some of our community members because I see some folks that are out there. So just want to get over there and say hello to you and welcome you. If you've not done so, make sure that you watch our episode that we did just this past week, Dwain Woode MD Live, where we talk about metabolism. Because metabolism, that's the place, that's the thing that causes us all of those problems, and we want to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for the best possibility of success. So I see Gian is out there. She says, hi all. We are Wood Gang again. So happy. Hey, Gian. The Wood Gang. Steve is saying hello. Gian says, Doctor, great to see you again, and so grateful to your reply from my question. Yes, so I did answer that question. I posted a video in the group, so if you've not seen that, go ahead and take a look at that for everyone who's out there. Gian is saying, hi, Steve. Glad that you are here, and for everyone that is with us. Let's see. I'm going to get back over here to... All right, there we are. So thank you for being here. So we're going to talk about a very important topic tonight. But before I do that, I am now 48 hours into this week's fast. 48 hours into this week's fast. And we're going to do a check-in so that you get to see and know and hear some of what's going on with me. Make sure, if you're out there, make sure that before we go, that I do show my ketones, because I didn't do that the last time. I came back on and did a special little pop-up so that we can do that, but I do want to make sure that we do that, because I know a lot of you are interested in what's going on with blood sugars. So let's go ahead and let's do the check-in. And the check-in that I do this because there are people who will have different sensations, different symptoms, different feelings as they're fasting, and I want you to know where I am as I am walking through this fasting space as well. Places where people will have difficulty, and there are 3 that I will talk about. That's how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. But before I do that, let me give you a little bit of backdrop. We are using fasting. We won't go through much detail there. We're using fasting as a tool to help our metabolism, right? So go back, watch our show on Monday. Our goal is reversing diabetes. You heard me say that we are breaking through barriers. We are presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans, and we're not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside of us to prevent us from doing that. So that's what we're doing, and one of the tools that we're using in that space is the tool of fasting. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at, or let me do our check-in. So I'm 48 hours, actually 49 hours now, and a little bit more than that, 49 and 9 minutes hours into this week's fast. And I do a 72-hour fast once a week for metabolism, for all the things that we talk about in terms of the benefits that we get from fasting. And right now, physically, I am feeling energetic, actually. Right, so we got through this week. We had some folks that were out, and we just had a good time at work. We saw patients, and still doing some things with my son in his room. So I stopped at the store. When I get off here, we're gonna finish up some things that we want to do there. The weekend is coming up. I've got a long weekend coming up. And so I'm excited. So energy is a big part of how I'm feeling physically. I'm rested as well because I've been preparing for all the things that are coming up this week. So I'm doing a good job of resting. I've not been up late and staying up late. I guess I should say I was up late last night because we did our show, but I've not been staying up late further and getting into the bed and getting rest. So right now I'm not feeling as though I am hitting a wall at this juncture. When we take a look at my blood sugar, you'll see that my blood sugars are better than they were yesterday and then the day before. As I mentioned, that I'm getting over an illness over the last several weeks, and my blood sugars have been a little higher, and so there's been a little bit of fatigue that I felt, but I'm feeling good right now. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. I'm not feeling palpitations. Those tend to come with if we're not doing a good job of hydrating. So right now I'm doing a good job of hydrating and I am resting, so I'm not feeling any of those symptoms. People will say that they feel those as the body is transitioning from burning carbs to burning fat, right? So that dip that they sometimes feel is a pronounced feeling that they get as the body's transitioning, okay? The next thing is how I'm doing mentally. And as I always say, or often say, how we do mentally goes along with how we're doing physically. So if we're not rested, if we're feeling palpitations, lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, then our thought process does not go well either. And right now, because I'm doing well physically, my thought process is good. I'm alert. I'm not sleepy. Excited to be in this space with you and share this conversation that we're having, and to see the benefits that you're having and see where you are. Okay, so make sure you're dropping that in the chat as well. And then emotionally, as I say, fasting is not just abstaining from food. it encompasses so many other parts of us, how we think, how we feel, our interactions with people around us. All of that is encompassed when we're fasting. And so if we're going to do a good job of fasting, if we're going to be successful, we want to make sure that we are checking in with ourselves in this way. How am I doing physically? How am I doing mentally? How am I feeling emotionally? Are there friction points in my schedule? Are there interactions with my family and friends that can derail me when it comes to fasting? Because remember, we are not allowing obstacles to do that. So any place that we see that there is a tension obstacle, we want to make sure we address it so it doesn't become a big deal and then push us off of our fasting. Okay, that's a huge part. So the reason that I do the check-in is because I want us to get into the habit. Anytime you are making a change, anytime you are trying to improve something, you want to make sure that you're checking to make sure that you're getting the benefit of whatever it is that you're doing, and to find out, do you need to make a change? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to make an adjustment here or there? Do I need to change the time when I'm fasting? Do I need to change what I'm doing or eating when I'm breaking the fast? Do I need to go into the fast differently? All of that can be assessed as we are doing this check-in. Okay? Make sure that you're doing that, and that will help you be successful as we move into better metabolic health. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at blood sugars. Take a look at blood sugars. Let me pop up. This is my Libre that you'll see there on the screen. This is right there. You see that I am finally in the what space? I'm finally in. I was in the 60s. And look at that. It just popped up just as I was saying that, it popped up and is now in the 70s. But one of the things I've had challenges with since I became ill several weeks ago is that my blood sugars have been higher. And we're going to actually do a show on that. I keep saying that I was ill. I actually had COVID. And we're going to do a show where we talk about what happens post-COVID for a lot of people and how do we get through that. But 70 is where my blood sugar is. You'll see down at see right here. Oops, right here, right there. You'll see near this spot right here, that squiggly white line, that's my blood sugar. And you'll see that it has, for most of the day, been below 100. Right, so the very first part of the day, it was right above 100, and then came down. We dipped below 70 for the first time there at the end, and then just now we just dipped back up. And so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the Dexcom. And I'm going to start off with the 12-hour, and you see kind of the same thing. Started out here in the morning at 124, 123, and continued dropping as we went throughout the day. And finally, let's see, what time did we finally go below 100? I guess that was right at about 6 p.m., right? And according to this, we popped up above 100 maybe an hour after that, and then continued dropping. If I go back and I look at the 24-hour, you'll see here, right, so we were 102 yesterday about 9 o'clock, so that was at 24 hours of fasting. And I want you to notice this, and this is what I was talking about, which was very frustrating for me, because my blood sugars at this point at 24 hours usually is below 100. But since I became ill, my blood sugars have been about 30, maybe 35, almost 40 points above what they have been prior to being sick. And so you see there, this right here, right, was probably the most frustrating part for me, because I was 88 at 4 o'clock. And I woke up and got ready and, didn't eat anything, didn't do anything else other than got ready and got into the day. And notice that I went from an 88 down here and all the way up to, I think the highest there was let's see, what was this one? 130, right there, 133. Okay, and then so spent the rest of the day kind of coming back down. But this part right here for me was frustrating because had that spike not happened, then I would have been spending most of today in the low 100s or actually below 100. Okay, all right. So that's what happens there. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the. We're gonna take a look at my meters. This is my Keto Mojo and then my my contour. Let me get that mouse out of there. And so let's go ahead and grab a strip. And the contour will only give me, not shouldn't say only, it gives me a glucose. And then the Keto Mojo, of course, gives me both blood sugar and also gives me ketones. So let's go ahead and get this one opened up. Get that strip in here. And I'm going to go ahead and open this one as well and just have it off to the side as I normally do. Get our container with our lancets in there. All right, and let's go ahead and get this started. And as I said, I don't usually use a lancing device. We're going to go ahead and just get a prick right there. And hopefully, I think that should be good because that hurts. And notice that this takes longer because I'm not using the lancing device. So I actually have to press. The lancing device would, automatically shoot it in, and then you get the drop of blood. All right, so let's go ahead and get this started. So this is the Keto Mojo. This is error. Okay, that's not good. Let's grab another strip. While that's doing that, let's go ahead and get the contour started. Okay, and hopefully I have another one of these in here. Okay, so I've got to go off and grab one. Hold on a second. All right, so I think I may have to do another finger stick. I guess I could have done the ketones first while we waited. But let's go ahead and get that in. And yeah, I think I need to do another finger stick. So let's do that again. Get some of these. All right. I'm going to need to do another finger stick. And ow, 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 ow. Okay. Let's see, there we go. So I got a drop of blood there. Go ahead and get this started. And that one looks like it worked. Okay, so 88 for the contour, and then 75 for the Keto Mojo. And then of course, you see that my glucose according to the freestyle is 68. Let's take this strip out. Get that one in there and apply our drop of blood. Okay, and then let that run. Okay, did it start? Nope, it did not start. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on with these. Okay, there we go. All right, so while that's running, let's hop over and say hello to some other folks, and then we'll get into our discussion. So let's see. So we said hi, Steve, and Jennifer says, howdy all. Completed a 48-hour fast, sticking to a keto diet for the next few days. Hope to keep the fat burn up. Jennifer, hand clap and some music for you. Good. Congratulations. Steve saying hello, Jennifer and Gian. Steve saying, great job, Jennifer. Yes, great job. Hi, Jennifer from Gion. And wow, great and great, amazing. 70, wow, 70, yes. And let me go back there because right now it's actually 68. So yes, I'm so excited. You guys, it doesn't take much to get me excited, but that does get me excited because I've been struggling with that for the last couple of weeks. because it's been staying right at 100 or just right below. And when in the past that when we fasted, our blood sugars dipped down into the 50s, 60s sometimes. Okay? All right. So, GLP-1 receptor agonists. Okay, so you've heard the names, right? They're Ozempic, they're Mounjaro, they're Wegovy, they're Zepbound. Some of the older ones that are out there that are still used, they're not necessarily used so much for weight loss, but there is Victoza, there's Bydureon, there's B-Cice, which is the newer form of Bydureon. There's Byetta. One of the pills, for GLP-1 receptor agonist pills, is Rybelsus. So you've heard all of these names. And they are diabetes medications. Zepbound and Wegovy, of course, are indicated specifically for weight management. The others that I mentioned are all medications that are being used for diabetes, right? That was what they were intended for. That's how they were developed. And as they were used, it was noticed that, hey, the people who are on these medications are actually losing weight. And so the craze came as this realization happened. And then there were medications, Zepbound and Wegovy, that then became specifically indicated or developed for weight management. Same formula. Let me change. Let me be careful with the words I use. They are similar drugs, similar products. They're packaged differently, and they're indicated. They've been studied. They've been approved for weight management. Okay, and so the question that people ask is, if I am on these medications, can I fast? Or if I'm fasting, can I then ask my doctor to put me on the medication? And let me say at the outset that I am a proponent of GLP-1 receptor agonists. Okay, I think they are an amazing tool. Notice that word. I think they fit a space that has been lacking for a long time. They fit in a little niche, and I guess it's not really a small niche. It's a huge niche, right? Because we have millions of people around the world that struggle with diabetes, prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, and obesity. Okay, so in this particular space, as we're talking about fasting and using weight loss medications, specifically the GLP-1s, there are two things that we want to discuss. We want to discuss diabetes treatment, and we want to discuss the effects on weight. Okay, so those are the two places that I think this comes up a lot. And the reason it comes up a lot is there are people who are diabetic, who have A1Cs that are in the target range. And usually we tell people I shoot for a 6.5 in my office for my general diabetics. If we're talking about let me back up. If we're talking to someone who is walking along with me in New Year, New You or limitless living, then we're talking about pushing that A1C down lower. So there are people that come to see me, people in my office, people in my practice, people that see me out of the office, people in the community that say to me, my blood sugars are great. My A1C is a 6.1. My A1C is a 5. My A1C is a whatever it is. I am off of medication, or I'm on very little medication. I'm not on insulin. Because remember, our goal, as we talk about medications, we gave a list of the order of medications that we want to get rid of. And the very first thing that we wanted to deal with was we wanted to get off of anything that was insulin related or produced insulin in the body. Okay? So that was the goal. So there are people who are off these medications, but they struggle with weight. And so they say, can I get on a GLP-1? Right? That's their first question. And I have been doing intermittent fasting. I've been doing extended fasting. I've been doing 1 meal a day fasting. I've been, whatever the form, whatever the type of that they're doing, they're asking the question, first of all, can I go on a GLP-1 even though my A1C is good? And can I fast while I'm taking this medication? Okay, so that's kind of the backdrop, and there are several questions that we can go back and do a lot more. If you guys have specific things in there that you want to know, let me know. Drop it in the comments, or and we can deal with it. Okay, so we're going to talk about how GLP receptor agonists work. We're going to talk about the unique benefit and challenges that they bring to fasting. We're going to talk about how to safely and effectively use them, and how do we incorporate them in our health journey. Okay, so those are some of the things that we're going to use. So grab some water, get comfortable, right? And let's talk. Let's talk about how to make fasting because we're in this space, we're learning how to fast well, right? How do we fast successfully? That's what I want to do. That's what we want to talk about. Okay? All right. So GLP-1s have shown themselves. They have become this powerful tool that we are using for blood sugar management. Let me start there, because that's where the GLP-1s made their mark. When they came on the scene, they first made an impact in how we managed diabetes. For a lot of people that were on multiple insulin shots a day, people who were on a long-acting insulin and then multiple shots throughout the day, when the GLP-1s came along, we were able to decrease the number of shots they took during the day. We were able to get them on maybe one long-acting insulin that lasted 24 hours, and then another injection, which was the GLP-1, that then took care of their mealtime spikes in blood sugar. Because when we talk about diabetes, there are two places that people will see that they have difficulty. One is, what happens to my blood sugar when I'm fasting, when I'm not eating, when I wake up in the morning? And then the next one is, what happens to my blood sugar after I eat? Right? So two different ways the body deals with those different blood sugars. And so we started putting people on the GLP-1s with a long-acting insulin, and we saw amazing benefits. People were getting off of their shots, they were improving their blood sugars, their A1Cs were going down, and we were excited. And then we noticed, wait a minute, Mrs. Jones, her weight went down. Mr. Jones' weight went down. Sally's weight went down. George's weight went down. And so we started looking at this and say, wait a minute, we are seeing something here that is beyond what we were expecting with blood sugar management, and we're seeing people who are actually losing weight, okay? So really, what are the GLP-1 receptor agonists and how do they work? So GLP-1 receptor agonists, and I gave the name of several of those there a minute ago. So there's Ozempic, there's Mounjaro, there's Wegovy, there's Zepbound, there is Rybelsus, Victoza, Byetta, B-Cice. All of those are in the class of GLP-1 receptor agonists. Now, you don't hear much about some of them, right? In fact, the two that you hear a lot of, Ozempic, right? It's big conversations about Ozempic, and then Mounjaro, and then of course there's Wegovy, Saxenda, Trulicity, and on and on and on and on. So key mechanisms of how they work. There are four things that they do. Number one, they slow the food as it moves through the GI tract. Okay, if you're out there, I want you to drop in the comments what three things that we've talked about that also slow your GI tract. Right? We say that these GLP-1s, they slow the GI tract. What are the three things have we talked about that do the same thing? Okay? They're not medications, by the way. Okay? So the first thing they do is they slow the GI tract. Number two, they help your body, or they decrease the amount of sugar that your body produces through the liver. So it decreases liver or hepatic glucose production. The next thing they do is, if your body is able to make insulin, they do make your body produce some insulin, okay? Because remember, we talked about that when we talked about the list of medications we're going to get off of. And then the final thing that they do is they help to improve your insulin sensitivity. All right, slows the GI tract, decreases sugar from the liver. It produces insulin in the pancreas if your body can produce insulin, and it makes your body sensitive to insulin. So with those, that's how they work. That's how they work with diabetes. That's how they work with diabetes. You got that so far? So blood sugars get better because if I'm slowing the GI tract, I feel fuller longer. If I feel fuller longer, then I don't eat as much. If I'm not producing as much sugar from the liver, then the blood sugar in my body goes down. The blood sugar the sugar in my blood goes down. If it's producing insulin in my body from my pancreas, then that insulin also helps to bring the blood sugar down. And one of the byproducts of that is that I don't have to take exogenous or insulin from outside. And then if they are helping the insulin that I have on board work better, then I also have better blood sugars. So those are the key mechanisms that the GLPs use for treatment or for their result or their benefit. Okay? Now, all of those are not the ones we're talking about when we talk about. That's what we're talking about when we talk about blood sugar. When we talk about weight, what we're primarily interested in there is we're interested in the slowing of the GI tract. Because if I'm slowing the GI tract, then I feel fuller longer, which means that I don't eat as much, which means that there's a signal that goes to my brain that says I'm full. So I'm affecting now the ghrelin, right? So if I'm feeling fuller, then there's a signal that goes to the brain that says I'm not hungry. Right? So it suppresses the appetite. It does not change hunger. It suppresses the appetite. The other benefit that comes in the weight is because I am sensitizing my body to insulin, because I'm sensitizing my body to insulin, the body does not need as much insulin to do what it needs. So remember the 3 pillars? Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. Notice, right? And we've said that there are several tools that fit that bill, right? One of them that we've used is fasting. Another one we've talked about is balanced bites. Here's another one, right? So these GLP-1 receptor agonists, they in effect reduce the amount of insulin that you need because it sensitizes your body. It slows the GI tract so you feel fuller longer, so suppresses the appetite. And because I'm not eating and I don't have that big appetite, then I don't eat as much carbs, and so it decreases the sugar in my body. Boom, there it is. Isn't that amazing? Okay? So as we're talking about that, so that is where it works. Okay? So how does a GLP-1 receptor agonist, how do you anticipate that it would work with fasting? Right? So one of the benefits that we see with fasting is that we have better appetite control. We've talked in this space that one of the big issues that people run into, one of the big things that happens is that as we're fasting, we are having that food noise that is constantly there. And the food noise, for whatever reason, whether it's a habit or an emotion or the fact that there are things around us or the taste of the food, the memories that it brings back, that bliss point that we've talked about, if the food noise wasn't there, we would be much more able to resist, avoid, and not get into those things that we said that we didn't want to get into, right? That cookie that's on the table. If I'm suppressing the appetite, if the noise isn't there, then I could walk by that cookie all the time. Unless you struggle with the access part, right? But the idea is that I don't have as big a push to eat that cookie. And so as I'm using the GLP-1s, they are decreasing the food noise. They're helping with that appetite. It's controlling the appetite. And so if I'm using that in conjunction with fasting, it's easier for me to fast. They enhance fat burning and metabolism, and they improve metabolic flexibility, because once again, I am sensitizing my body to insulin. I'm decreasing sugar from the liver. I'm producing insulin if I can without having to take extra insulin. Because remember, insulin is an issue. So if I'm bumping up the insulin that I need to take because blood sugars are high and I'm having to inject, then I am, in essence, sending my metabolism in the wrong direction. That's the opposite of what we talked about in our show on Monday, where we talked about the fact that if we are going to have if we're going to reverse diabetes, if we are going to set ourselves up in a better metabolic space, then we need to heal, we need to improve, we need to do things that will help our metabolism get better. And one of the main things that we can do in metabolism is to decrease the amount of insulin that we have in our body. Because remember, it is an insulin problem, not a sugar problem. The sugar is the consequence, but it's not the main problem. Okay? So benefits, we're back to benefits. So they also stabilize blood sugars during fasting. Right? They help you to stabilize blood sugar, so it makes your body more insulin sensitive, so we don't have these big fluctuations, because the body now is able to regulate. Now, this is a great point to make here. When I talk to people who are fasting, one of the challenges for them, if they're diabetic, is that while they're fasting, they're not eating. And if they are on medication, insulin or secretagogues, those medications that produce insulin in the body, then their blood sugars will drop. And they're afraid that they will have a hypoglycemic episode. And if that's the case, then they will end up eating to bring the blood sugar up, and that breaks the fast. The reason the blood sugars fluctuate so much is because of the medication. So when you take the insulin or you take that pill, it doesn't know that your blood sugar is dropping. Its job is to bring the blood sugar down. It doesn't have like a thermometer on it that says, oh, if your blood sugar gets below a certain number, then stop working. It keeps working until the body clears it. But because we have these medications that are on board, then the body's own mechanisms, right, sensitizing, our body's own mechanisms can come into play and can help stabilize the blood sugar on their own. Right, so stabilizing blood sugar. So one of the challenges, of course, as I've just mentioned, is the risk of hypoglycemia, particularly if you're taking other medications, right? If you have other medications that are on board that also produce insulin, decrease the sugar, and do some of those things, then your likelihood of having a hypoglycemic episode on this is increased. So once again, you want to make sure that you're talking to your family doctor, your healthcare provider for all of those things. One of the other issues is gastrointestinal side effects. So nausea, bloating. We talked about the fact that when we fast, the GI tract slows down already. So now if you add a GLP-1 to that, then the constipation that we get, or the feeling of bloating and nausea can increase. We can have people who have bad breath, increased acidity, right? So this is adding that to fasting, right? Fasting itself can do those things. And if we add a GLP-1 to it, now what we've done is we've kind of compounded that process. So for people who are taking GLP-1s and for people who are fasting separate from each other, I tell them you got to make sure that you're doing a good bowel management practice. If we put them together, for sure now, you've got to make sure that you're doing things to keep things regular, keep things moving. Okay? And then if we are on a GLP-1, and we're talking now about medications, complications, then what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are adjusting those other medications. Make sense? Awesome. So fasting does several things. In fact, the 3 pillars that I just talked about, fasting, decreasing insulin, suppress appetite, and reduce sugar. So how does it decrease our appetite? Well, if we're fasting, our body becomes more insulin sensitive. If our body's more insulin sensitive, then the amount of insulin we've got to use goes down. And as soon as the amount of insulin goes down, then we're off to the races with all of the downstream metabolic benefits. Notice, it doesn't take having to stop eating before we get the metabolic benefits from the insulin reduction. As soon as we can decrease the amount of insulin that's there, then those metabolic benefits begin. Because once we decrease the insulin, our appetite goes down. Appetite goes down, we don't need as much sugar. We don't need as much sugar, then we're reducing the sugar. 1, 2, 3. All 3 of those pillars. So those are the benefits and some of the side effects, drawbacks from taking GLP-1 receptor agonists along with fasting. So what are some best practices? And I guess let me pause here and say that to answer the question, can someone take a GLP-1 and fast at the same time? The answer is yes. There is no contraindication to the two, other than that people sometimes when they're queasy, right? What do we do when we feel queasy sometimes? Right? We drink something, we drink some ginger ale, we get some ginger, right? We take something that will settle the stomach, we drink some tea, coffee, whatever it is, that breaks the fast. Okay? So when we are on a GLP-1 and we're fasting, we've got to be mindful of the fact that there can be an interplay, right? So not an interaction, but an interplay in how they work in the GI tract, and they do some of the similar things. Okay? So best practices. Number 1, you want to consult your healthcare provider. You knew that was coming, right? That has to be a part of your plan. Consult your healthcare provider. Choose a fasting protocol that aligns with your health goals, right? As we've said over and over and over, as you're getting into fasting, you want to find a fasting method that works best for you, and you want to research that. You want to look into it. What is going to happen in my body? What should I expect? So that you are aware of that. And then now when we add the GLP-1, or whichever direction you do it, if you're already on GLP-1 and you want to do fasting, then you will know, okay, I'm adding these together and I need to be careful of this thing. Okay, so choose the fasting protocol that's best for you. So during the fast, you want to monitor blood sugars closely. There it is again. Monitoring is so important for anything that we're going to do. You want to monitor closely so that you can be aware when things are happening. That's one of the great reasons, one of the best reasons why I advocate for the continuous glucose monitors, the ketone monitor, the finger stick, right? So all of those are ways to monitor your blood sugar, your ketones, so that you know where you are. You want to make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're staying hydrated and address any side effects that you see. If you're feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, don't just blow it off. You want to stop and say, okay, what could possibly be going on right here? Avoid stressful situations and overexertion. So this is not the time to run a marathon. This is not the time to get married. This is not, right? So those big events, not the time to do it while you're fasting. And I'm going to say this, but let me say it anyway. I was going to not say it, but let me say it. So if and we've had people who say, hey, I'm getting married, in a month or 2 months or 3 months. I want to get on Ozempic or one of these because I need to lose weight. And so that fine. Whatever reason is, During your event, though, I would not recommend using these medications, right? And I wouldn't recommend starting these medications. I guess let me say it that way, because you can have side effects, and you do not want to have those side effects. If you're starting like today, this week, and you're getting married on Sunday, that's probably not the thing to do, because we have a titration period where we're titrating up the medications. It also is not the time to fast, right? We've talked about scheduling and timing, and right. So I want you to kind of be aware that you have to be socially and emotionally intelligent about how to use the tools in your space. Right? Not just because we said we're fasting or we're taking a GLP-1 that, okay, well, I know I'm getting married tomorrow, but I'm going to start it today. No, let's be mindful of, because you want to have a great experience with the fasting and with the GLP-1, and you want to have a great experience at your function, your birthday, your anniversary, the party, the get together with the family, whatever it is, right? Let's make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. Okay. And then when we're breaking the fast, you want to use small, low glycemic meals, including healthy fats, proteins to stabilize the blood sugar and so forth. And you don't want to, at that time when you're breaking the fast, overload the GI tract, because the GI tract is now dealing with several things. It's dealing with the fact that it has not been motile, it's not been moving that much while you've been fasting. And it's dealing with the fact that you have the GLP-1 on board. So if now I dump a bunch of things in there that upset the stomach, then the likelihood of having challenges with those is higher. And then the fasting or the GLP-1 gets blamed for it. When it's not that, it's just that we put too much in when we broke the fast. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. So who should be cautious? Who should be cautious with this? Well, people who have a history of hypoglycemia, obviously, right? Fasting and GLP-1. Make sure that you're talking to your healthcare provider. People who are using other diabetes medications, particularly those that are insulin-based or secretagogue-based. Insulin is what you're taking insulin, and secretagogues are those medications that cause your body to produce insulin. Okay, we're not going to put the GLP-1s in there. We know they do, but we're going to take those out of that bucket for a minute. Okay. People who have severe gastrointestinal symptoms with GLP-1s, don't recommend them. Right. In fact, there are people in our office who had amazing results from the GLP-1, but they just had the worst GI side effects. And so we couldn't continue it with them because the side effects, I mean, it was bad. They were having diarrhea, they were having nausea, some people were throwing up, some people had significant abdominal pain. So we couldn't do that, right? So we say, hey, we know it was being beneficial, we need to do something else, okay? And then you want to personalize your treatment plan and your fasting protocol with the recommendation of your physician. Tailoring your fasting to your health goals, your weight loss goals, your diabetes management goals, your blood pressure goals, your cholesterol goals, very, very important. Make sure that you're doing. And then track your progress and adjust as needed. Right? Leveraging this community for motivation and accountability is amazing. Right? This is the space that I recommend that you are in. This space or a space like this where there are people who are fasting, who are on GLP. I know there's one of our community members that is very active in one of the other GLP communities. That's what you want to be doing. Okay? You want to be in community with people who are doing like things. Awesome. All right, so let's see. So let's go to our question. So my question to you was, what 3 things did we talk about that do the same thing as the GLPs in terms of slowing the GI tract? Slowing the GI tract, okay? So let me go back up and let's see if we had anybody. Well, let's see what we got. We got some comments. So I'm looking for that answer. So we talked about Jennifer fasting for 48 hours, I think is what it was, Jennifer. Yes, it's 48. Yes. Let's see. So Jennifer says, I'm type 2 on Manjaro, 7.5. My doctor encourages me to fast. Each tool is in the toolbox, works together. Jennifer, yes. I'm gonna put that up, and I'm gonna give you a hand clap for saying that. And one of the most important words that you use there is the word tool. Okay? All the things that we talk about, right? And you hear me say we educate, we empower, and we encourage. The empowerment comes with the tools that we are learning. So we're not learning one tool, right? So we are not a fasting community. We use fasting as a tool in our journey. So fasting is not the end all and be all. It is not the goal. It's not the destination. It is a tool that we're using for what we want. And so as Jennifer says, fasting is a tool. The GLP-1 is a tool. And so all of those tools are tools that we use. They're tools in our toolbox. Jennifer, you must have heard somebody say that. Okay. All right, so each tool in the toolbox works together. I love it, right? Autumn says, hi, Wood Gang. Better late than never. Hey, Autumn, how are you? Here. All right, and then Jennifer say, hey, Autumn, hey, AJ. Do you have any side effects, Jennifer? So good question. Good question. If you are on GLP, drop that in. So Jennifer says that she's on one. Autumn says hi, Gian. Jennifer says, when I move up to the 10, then 12.5, yes. I moved back down and stayed at 5 for a long time. Just moved to the 7.5. So that's one of the things that we do in the office for people who are, because there's a titration for all, most of them. I was going to say all. So there's a titration for most of them. You start at a lower dose and you work your way up. Some people, when they get to the higher doses for whichever product, they begin having more side effects, and so we then back down to a place where they're able to tolerate it. Okay. Gian says, "Hi, Autumn." Jennifer says, Autumn says, Jennifer, is your A1C under control? Dr. Woode, I would like your opinion on extended fast of 7 to 10 days, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to star that. I'll come back to that in just a minute, Autumn. Steve saying hello. Autumn is saying hello to Steve. Complex carbs slow the GI tract, doctor. Yes, so complex carbs, that is a good one. Not one that we talked about, right? So there are 3 that we talked about. And let me just say that. Autumn says, I believe fasting slows down the GI tract for some people, unless you are me, of course, and have the opposite effect. And then Juan says, food noise is a culprit for me. Yeah, food noise is big for a lot of people. So Juan, it is one of the benefits of fasting, and one of the benefits of the GLP-1 receptor agonists, right? So they help with the food noise. But the 3 that what I was thinking about that slow the GI tract, one, we said fats, right? So we said healthy fats because it produces cholecystokinin. Proteins because we have the protein YY. And then ketones themselves will help to slow the GI tract and cause you to feel fuller longer. Okay, so those are the 3 that I was thinking about. So let's go back and let's hop up and let's talk here. So coming back to Autumn's question, she said, Dr. Woode, I would like your opinion on extended fast of 7 to 10 days, the good, the bad, and the ugly, please. All right, so fasting for extended periods of time. 1, all fasting, regardless of what fasting you do, will do a few things. And the top 3 things that we talk about, insulin sensitization, right? Weight loss, and improvement in the mindset. And one of the shows, and as I said, that mindset, let me comment for a minute. So when I decided to do this show tonight, I actually changed it from another show that I was going to do. Another episode. It's in the list, and we'll come back and we'll do it. And it has to do with the non-metabolic effects of fasting. Okay. So we talk about the metabolic effects all the time. We talk about the improvement in cholesterol, improvement in blood pressure, and insulin sensitization and weight loss and so forth. But there are some non-metabolic effects, like focus, like energy, which is not a metabolic issue, like being more pleasant, like not having to deal with the food noise. Right? So I'm going through all of those things, but improving metabolism, improving insulin sensitivity, and also improving our mentation. So fasting. So as we come into each year, there are people all over the country, all over the world, that are doing a fast. They're doing a fast from, and you can name something, and somebody's probably fasting from it. They're doing the cleanses, right? So we're fasting for a number of days. And so I think that anyone who is medically able should be able to fast for extended periods for whatever the benefit is that they're looking for. Okay? There are some groups, there are some places, there are some hospital-associated programs where you come in, and if we need to get you to surgery like in a month, you're fasting for a month. Okay? It's under medical supervision, but you're fasting. So a 7 to 10 day fast, I think, is amazing for people that are medically able to do that. And we've talked about several of the people who should not fast or should be doing so under the direction of a physician or healthcare provider who are in community. So the good is that with extended fast, you see more pronounced benefits that we've been talking about, Autumn. Okay, so you see a lot more of that. You see faster, more pronounced improvement in your metabolic situation. Whether it's 7, 10 days, whatever the number is, you should be able to do so relatively simply if you prepare well. Making sure you're hydrated, making sure that you are not deficient in any nutrients, making sure that your vitamins and all those things are good, making sure that you've been eating a nutrient-dense meal leading up to the weeks up to when you're getting ready to do the fast. So don't just wake up tomorrow and say, I'm fasting for 10 days. Right? It takes some preparation. You've got to set your house up. You got to set your family up. You got to let people know what's going on. You got to anticipate some of the issues that you're going to have, right? So don't do a 7-day fast when right in the middle of your fast is when you have your family reunion. Now, you may want to do that, but that's probably not the best time because there are going to be all of these influences that are coming. Okay? So that's that. Medically speaking, there should not be any reason why a person cannot fast for 10 days. Unless they have some other medical issues. I'm not talking about the people who we've excluded and said, hey, you have some issues that you have to make sure you're talking to your doctor about. Generally speaking, most people should be able to do that without any difficulty. Okay? I think I answered that. She says, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So good, the great stuff. Bad, it's not bad, but you can have deficiencies and dehydration and those types of things. And the ugly, don't have any of those. Okay? Awesome. All right. And then food noise. I want to come back to that as well. So Jion said food noise. So make sure that you understand that a lot of what we struggle with that is not hunger, physical hunger, has to do with the food noise and the things that the food does for us. Okay, so make sure that you're paying attention to that. Okay, now before I go to my ketones, I do want to do something really quickly, and I said that we would do this. So let me hop over, and I want to give some shout outs to our members who have joined our membership. So thank you for all that you guys do. So in our memberships, we've got, and give some hand claps and so forth. We've got Cornelia, and Cornelia, I don't think Cornelia was on tonight, but Cornelia, we'll give a hand clap and some music to you. We've got Teresa. And let me go to this one. Yeah. So as I'm doing this, I want you to anticipate, or we want you to imagine me just like throwing confetti on you, and whatever, blowing the stuff, right? So this is just an exciting time because I really know that you are taking charge of your health, taking charge of your life. And even as we are talking through having the discussions, right? The questions you've asked, and I said to one of our community members in one of our post-show meetups, I said, when you come on, I'm excited to see you there because of what you bring to the community. So each of you, thank you for all of that. So Autumn, thank you for joining us. And then Rebecca as well, just excited that you are here. And then my man David Hunt. And then Jennifer, thank you for coming through. And then Gian, all the benefits that you guys bring. Pamela. And then we have Lightworks. That was Robert. So I am so excited that you guys have joined our membership, and just wanted to give you just some verbal affirmation, and thank you for being part of the group, and thank you for what you bring to the group. Okay, so what you bring to the group. For the membership, we're going to do a membership orientation coming up at the beginning of next month. Okay, we're going to do a membership orientation. We're going to go into the community there in Kajabi, and we're going to walk around. We're going to talk. You guys can actually get into Kajabi and have a meeting room where you're talking to each other. So anyway, lots of things there. So we're going to do that coming up at the first of next month. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's get back here, and that's my. Oh, there you go. That is me. Oh, come on, go off. There we go. So Autumn says, I think there are many doctors who think fasting is crazy. Now, I'll tell you, Autumn, that I was talking to someone today or yesterday, or just recently, who told me that they had gone to some educators who told them that fasting was dangerous. Okay, so there are still places where we have to educate people. Okay, and so as we are educating, as we're moving through that space, then we will find that that people are beginning to understand that fasting is a tool that we can use. And you've heard me say, and let me be quick to say, fasting is not for everybody. Right, and we've commented on that. Our show from last night, right? Is fasting dangerous? Right, is a great point. A perfect segue, or perfect correlation to what you're saying. So thanks for answering my question, Doctor. So that's from Autumn. Jennifer says she had her blood draw today, waiting for the results. Yes, Jennifer, I'd be very interested. We want to know. I love hand clap sounds, so Gian says. And I think someone else was saying that they were having their blood work done recently. I I think I remember who it was, so I'm not going to say. So if you had blood work done recently, say yes, it was me. Jennifer says, give a clap to yourself, Doc. Okay, there you go. I'm sorry. I did join the group. Thank you, Jennifer. Gion says, I want to listen to clap sound all day. And let's see. Volin is joined us. Volin, I don't think I've seen you before, so welcome. Welcome to the group. Volin is over on Twitch, it looks like. And so for everyone who's over on Twitch, everyone who's over on Instagram, and so there are certain platforms that their comments don't get to come over, but we see you there when you're on Instagram. Thank you for coming through and joining us. Gian says all claps go to the doctor. Autumn says, and I think most doctors only believe in the calorie in, calorie out approach to weight loss. The calorie in, calorie out. And I was recently I was listening to someone on one of the channels talking about calorie in, calorie out. Oh wow. Okay, I don't remember where it was. But once again, right? So we are beginning to see shifts as people are now thinking in a more global and holistic metabolic picture, and saying, yes, calories are important, but there are some other things that really are the driving factors behind what's going on in our metabolic space. Because as you know, for a long time, we have been talking calories in, calories out. We've pushed calories in, calories out. And it is not solving the issues. It's not solving the problems that we're having. Okay? All right. And then, Steve says me. Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking of, but I didn't want to say if I was wrong, right? And Autumn says Russian. Let's see. Autumn, give me a little context to that. I think, did I miss a comment up above? Okay, yeah, just put some more information there for me. Steve says 6.1 A1C, my lowest ever triglycerides level. Oh wow, Steve, boom, here my man. Good for you. That is great. Autumn says that's a good A1C, Steve. Good job. Yes, I was pleased considering the health issue I've had recently. And so, Steve, actually, I was thinking about you as I've been watching my blood sugar over the last couple of weeks. Because I remember you were saying that you were having some challenges there as well. And then Jennifer said, woo, awesome, Steve. Congratulations. Gion says, great, Steve. Yes. All right, so let's hop over and let's take a look at what my Keto Mojo is saying my ketones are. I lost that word for a minute. Okay, so I want to make sure I do this now, because if not, I'll forget, and then we'll go off and you'll get a random pop-up come on. All right, so there's my that's my Keto Mojo app, and let's go ahead. I'm going to turn on my ketone meter. Actually, why am I doing that? Let me do it this way. All right, turn on my ketone meter, and then we're going to go ahead and get it synced. Boom, boom, boom. And I think I saw, let's see, let's go back. So Steve said, I think he said 1.8, right? I think I saw a guess in there from you, Steve. All right, so are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go here, and drum roll, please. And ketones are 1.8. Steve, is that the number you said? Wait a minute, I gotta go back up there. Wait a minute, let's see. Steve. So Steve. Okay, Steve, I thought you had given a guess, but I don't see it. Maybe I'm not going back far enough. But so blood sugars right now are my blood sugar is 7.5, and then ketones 1.8. So this is let's see. When I checked that was 49 hours, right? 40, yeah. So 1 hour behind. 49 hours and 9 minutes. Blood sugar 75, ketones 1.8. As we've said before, ketones less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then of course above that is considered therapeutic ketosis. So when we're talking about metabolism and being in ketosis, we want 0.5 or higher. As you saw right there, I'm actually above 1.5, so I'm in therapeutic ketosis right now. When we look at graphs, you'll see on the screen the tan line, that's my blood sugar, right? So started out there, and let me do it this way so I get a little. So we started out there at 87, we went up to 122, and then started coming down 108, and then of course now of 75. As the blood sugar goes up, insulin comes out to try to manage that blood sugar. And when insulin is out, ketones can't be there. So ketones are going to be low when the blood sugar is high because the blood sugar is being managed by insulin. Once the blood sugar starts coming down, as I'm fasting, you'll see the blood sugar is going lower and lower and lower. And as a result, the ketones can then come out because the insulin is not suppressing it. Okay? And so that's what you see there. The turquoise line is the ketones. So when I ended my fast and started eating last week, the ketones fell because I was eating. And then as I've been fasting over the last 48 hours, 49 hours, then the blood sugar is going down, insulin is going down, and so ketones start coming up at that point. Okay? And so that's what we're seeing there. All right. Okay. So let's see. Steve, don't let your teeth. So Gian was saying, great, Steve. Autumn says the person from the other platform used a Russian word to say hello. Oh, okay. Thank you. I was like, oh, okay, good. Steve says, don't let your health go. I'm paying a heavy price for my bad habits. So Steve, one of the for everyone, one of the things that you've continually heard me say is that we've all made those choices, right? And I'm raising my hand because you guys saw at one point my A1C was 14 or higher. Okay, so we've all made those choices, and in our space now, what we want to do is we want to say, okay, how do we, from this point, move forward? What do we do? What decisions are we making to do that? One of the things that I just added to my so in my digital organizer, I have these mantras that I'm coming up with and so forth. One of the things I've just added to my list is that I am doing the best I can for my body from this moment forward. I'm not going back there because that stuff that I did I shouldn't say probably, it was not the best. But I'm doing the best for my body from this moment going forward. And so, Steve, I applaud you for what you're doing, by the way. Right? I know you say that, the habits in the past, but I applaud you for what you're currently doing and the decision that you've made to make a change and to do as much as you can right now to make the future a much brighter place. Okay. Autumn says, I have a little experience with the Russian language. Oh, okay. Gian says, I understand, Steve. Praying for you to regain only good health, Steve. And so Autumn is saying that. And then Steve says, my ketones 1.2. Awesome. All right. So thank you guys for being in this space. I want you to remember our what our plan is. We are talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. We're talking to people who have metabolic disease who are interested in getting better, getting off of medication. And as my mug says, we're breaking free from boundaries. We're presenting our best life, our best self, our best health, and our best goals. We're not allowing obstacles to stop us. And you hear me paraphrase that all the time by saying that I'm not allowing anything from outside of me or anything from inside of me to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be metabolically healthy, to set myself up for success, and to reverse my diabetes. We are making those choices because we have unlimited potential to be able to do that. And the things that bother us, the things that worry us, those 91.4% are the things we put our energy in, and are the things that a lot of times we need to be managing and dealing with, figuring out how to do, how to manage, how to cope with, so that they don't push our buttons and cause us to eat or come off of our plan. 91.4% of the things that we worry about, of the things that we think about, of the things that we stress about, 91.4 never come true. And we are building our plan. We are using the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the podcasts, with the blogs. We empower with the tools that we're using, that we're learning, and we encourage with this amazing community that you are a part of. We'll do our check-in again coming up tomorrow as we end our fast. We may do it a little early. Tomorrow I have my doctor's appointment, not to get my labs, that's next month, but I'm going to see my ophthalmologist, right? So all of you that are out there, remember there are certain things as diabetics that we have to do. As a matter of fact, there are certain things that we all have to do, but particularly as we talk about our diabetics, there are certain things that we've got to get done annually and every quarter. So every quarter, you should be seeing your healthcare provider. Every year, you should be seeing your ophthalmologist. All those things are things that we want to do to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success, because we're living that limitless life. Okay? So we'll be doing our check-in tomorrow. Make sure you join us. On Saturday, we'll have video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. On Sunday morning, we'll have This Week in Review, which starts at 6 a.m. Central. And then every day, we are still in our 100-day walk to consistency. And right now, we are on day number 16. Day number 17 coming up tomorrow. Make sure you join that. You don't have to walk. Let me say that again. You don't have to walk. There are people in our community that said they're going to be rowing. They're going to be lifting. They're going to be doing yoga. They're going to be doing some physical activity that you're doing. You're sitting in your chair and you're lifting a broom up. All right. Some physical activity that you're doing that says, okay, I'm doing this because I'm working on my metabolic health. Something that you're doing that you're going to be doing consistently, right? Because it's why 100-day walk to consistency and health. Often, we don't succeed because we don't have a plan, we don't have structure, not because we don't have a desire, not because we don't have understanding, not even because we don't have a vision. We have a vision, but we don't have a plan, we don't have a structure. And we don't succeed because we're not consistent. So 100-day walk to consistency and health says, I'm doing this in this space, I'm being consistent, which is a requirement, and I've got some structure to what I'm doing. Right? So what we're doing here is providing structure. One of the things that we're going to be talking about is limitless. We'll tell you what the acronym stands for. It is a word that we use in our limitless living, right? But the limitless has an acronym, and we'll share that with you as we get further into our season. Awesome. All right, and let's see. Let's get some final comments before we go. Gian is saying thank you. For all you do, Doctor. Thank you. Autumn says, thanks, Dr. Woode. Good to see you all. And then Autumn says, COVID has interfered with my rowing and just about everything else in life. Yeah, so COVID has been a devastating thing for several people in our community. Community. Let me do a plug. Please, if you've not already done so, go ahead and log in. Make sure you get in there. It's a great place for us to support each other in the community. I've been talking and putting some notes in there. I did a video to answer one of Gion's questions last night, right after we got off the show. So make sure that you get in there and you are are supporting each other. Okay. I do want to do one thing. I'm going to go ahead, and I should have done this earlier. Put up the link for a Zoom. We'll drop that in the community tab. And so I'll be on for a few more minutes if anyone is coming over, and we can have a little chat. Once again, if you're interested in doing a shout out on what you've experienced and the benefits that you've had, a win for this week, we're going to be doing that as we go through the shows. I just posted that in the member area. Okay, so I look forward to seeing whoever comes over. As always, I am happy to be here with you. Glad to be in the space. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we are breaking free from those obstacles. We're presenting our best selves, our best health, and our best plan for our lives. And we're not allowing anything outside of us or inside of us to hinder us. We're not allowing it to stop us. We'll see you at our next episode. Good night, everybody.